And welcome back to the show. Well, now I want to take a look at a brand new indie film that is available on streaming platforms. It's called The Stolen Valley. And this is from a writer director that I'm sure Hollywood has been expecting a film from now for a number of years. The writer director of this film, Jesse Edwards, has made a name for himself in the world of commercial filmmaking. He's actually won a bunch of what they call Emmys in the commercial world for some of the high profile television ads and cinema ads that he has filmed over the years. And I'm sure a lot of people out there have expected at some stage that he would go across to feature films. Now, The Stolen Valley might be a little bit of a surprise for them because with the way that he shoots these sleek ads, you'd kind of expect that perhaps he'd want to go into doing something like a Bond-esque kind of action film or something like that. But instead, he's actually made a very, very good Western thriller. This film, The Stolen Valley, it actually mixes the Western kind of genre with a thriller in a sense. Now, this film has two female leads that are absolutely sensational. The two characters are Lupe, played by Breeza Covarrubias, and I hope I've said that correctly, and Maddie, played by Ali Sutton Heathcote. Now, their lives suddenly clash. Lupe has a pretty mundane life. She works as a mechanic for her dad. She's damn good at her job, but her life is kind of thrown into turmoil when her mother lapses into a coma, and the family suddenly need to make money in a bid to save her mother's life. At the same time, Maddie has been working as a bronco rider in rodeos. She's pretty good at what she does, but because she's a woman, she never receives equal pay to everybody else. Suddenly, finds herself trying to make her life better, but by doing so, crosses the wrong people. Lupe just happens to be there at that time, and I don't want to go into spoilers at all, but suddenly they find themselves on the run with these kind of gangster guys after them. Now, Lupe has the idea that she wants to go back. She has Native American heritage. She wants to go back to the area where her family is from, find her real father, and ask can she borrow money from him in a bid to save her mother's life. That turns into a whole new story that again sees both Lupe and Maddie's lives put in danger, but a very, very touching story as well about what happens with these stolen valleys. There's an oil company involved. Her family are still living on the land, but basically having to pay somebody to do so. Don't want to go into that too much because I want to leave that as a complete mystery for people who are going to sit down and watch this film. So what I will look at is whether or not this movie is worth a look. And I have to say, yes, it is. It is definitely worth a look. This is one of those films that will draw you in very, very quickly. The characters of Lupe and Maddie are both interesting characters. You find yourself kind of barracking for them in a sense from the very start. But this is a film that will take you on a journey as well. And I think that's one of the things that surprised me about this film. Once I started to watch it and I knew what the storyline was going to be, I was kind of thinking, yeah, it's just going to end up being two women on the run with a few shootouts along the way. Yeah, it'll be entertaining, but it won't be too deep. That's where I was wrong. This film gets very, very deep. When Breeza and Ali took on these roles, if they thought they were going to be able to get away with just being able to do action sequences, they were very mistaken because this film has some pretty deep emotional scenes as well about family, about finding your ancestry and your heritage. This goes into some pretty deep territories. And yes, there are some action sequences in there. And I have to say, for an indie film, they actually look pretty good. Of course, they're not going to look like the latest $1 million Fast and Furious franchise film, but they still look pretty good. And in a way, it actually brings a more natural feel to this film by the way that those sequences have been filmed. There is that air of suspense all the way through this film, and of course, if you've heard my interviews with Jesse or with Breezer or Ali, you will see I mentioned a time when the women go into a bar and there's a comical scene where they have to try and pretend that they're part of this dance troupe so that these guys can't find them. But the suspense is there all the time. You find yourself thinking at any moment these guys are going to recognize who they are and they're going to get shot. There's that suspense there all the way through this film, and Jesse Edwards' script has been pretty good at that, especially once it starts turning into a story about a landowner stealing land and an oil company and all of that. You're thinking at any moment Lupe is going to be in danger here. Like, what is going to happen? Is there going to be a massacre of her and her people? What is going to happen there? The film looks remarkable as well, of course. Shot with that beautiful American desert in the background. Jesse Edwards ended up having to be director of photography on this film as well. So everything you see looks amazing. It looks like some kind of canvas of a famous American painting or something like that. It's almost impossible to shoot in that area and have your film look bad. And Jesse Edwards really capitalizes on that. I also have to praise the performances as well of the two leads. They are just absolutely amazing. They are actresses with big futures ahead of them. Like I said before, they deliver with the action sequences, they deliver with the deep emotional scenes, and they just kind of make these characters likable. In a sense, you almost hope that Jesse Edwards does a sequel to this film and follows the women on their next journey as well, because they're the kind of characters that you do want to know more about. And hopefully those two leads get more roles over the years, because yeah, they're really, really good in their roles. But look, to sum up, The Stolen Valley, it's a strange film in a sense. You would expect, like I said, that this movie would just be a straight up shoot 'em up kind of Western, but there's deep emotional scenes in there that draws you that right in. It's beautifully shot. Yes, at times you can tell that you're watching an indie film with a low budget, but if you can overlook that, then you're in for a captivating ride that really draws in its audience. You ride every single second with Lupe and Maddie. So some brilliant acting mixed in with an amazing, suspenseful, deeply emotional storyline. This is one hell of a ride that you are going to love from start to finish. It is a remarkable film, character-driven action film, which is very, very rare these days. Works sensationally well. So go and check out The Stolen Valley. I'm giving this one 3.5 out of 5.